Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Mostly Sports Talk Show. Lots of stuff going on in sports. The last couple of weeks, we got NBA playoffs, we got the Mets, we got the Yankees, we got a bunch of NFL stuff to talk about. The NBA is in full swing. What happened last night to the Knicks? I don't know. We're going to go over a bunch of that. Could there be ghosts of Reggie Miller in the building? I have no idea. But anyway, we're going to get into a bunch of stuff today. But I've been telling you guys in the past that I've been kind of looking for another co-host to do my show with. Obviously, E-Dubs is on doing his bigger and better things with his podcast. So kind of want to look for a new co-host. So I've been asking around a couple people, and I was going to ask somebody today to sit in and help me out, a guy from work, but he couldn't do it. He had some kind of, he had some kind of thing he had to do with his kids, but that's definitely understandable. But I do actually have a new co-host, and I'm not going to reveal the name of the co-host yet because he's taking a little bit of a break before he has to come and give me his full attention. But he'll be back, and our first show is going to debut probably next week or the week after. But once my new co-host comes aboard, we're going to have some more continuity to this show. We're going to give you a morning, mostly sports talk show. And when I mean mostly sports, I mean we're going to get mostly sports, but there's definitely we could definitely take a hard left or a hard right and talk about other things as well. But yeah, that's good news for the mostly sports talk show. Keep Talking 365 is going to keep going as well. So all right, welcome and good morning. So last night, right, there was a game in Madison Square Garden. I turned on the television. People in Madison Square Garden were loud. They were going crazy. They were happy. The Knicks are in the finals. Not the finals. The Knicks are in one step away from the finals. I watched that game last night. Something concerning to me. The one concerning thing to me last night, well, actually, there's two concerning things to me last night if you're a Knicks fan. One, I think the Knicks played really good last night. They played hard, they played tough, they played strong. Everybody except for Karl-Anthony Towns, because I got something about that guy. I think he is one of the softest players in the NBA, but that's just me. I mean, I'm not a basketball coach by any stretch of the imagination, but a big man needs to be underneath the basket. Karl-Anthony Towns, he shoots 3-pointers, he scores some points. It's all well and good, but what about when you got a team that hovers underneath the basket and is tough? Karl-Anthony Towns goes outside, tries to take some 3-pointers. Sometimes they go in, sometimes they don't. When they go in, great. Guys scoring 24 to 30 points. But when they're not, go under the basket. Try to switch up your game. Try to be that tough guy that everybody thinks you are going to be. It's not going to happen though with Karl-Anthony Towns. If they win this championship, if they win this series, it's going to be on the back of one Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson did everything he possibly could last night to win that basketball game. There's something going on with Jalen Brunson. The guy, he plays hard. The guy's always on the ground. He gives you 100% of his game every single night he steps onto that court. Fouled out again last night. Fouled out last week early in the game as well. It's one thing about his game that he has to kind of mature about a little bit. When I say mature, I'm not saying he's making immature fouls. I'm not saying he's complaining. I'm not saying he's really, but I think he's sometimes trying to do too much. I mean, that last foul last night that fouled him out of the game was kind of like a little bullshit foul, but it was a foul hence anyway. But he's got to kind of keep his head in the game. Because if that guy's on the court for all 42 minutes of that basketball game, I think the Knicks win that game last night. But something happened. Something happened to that Garden Magic. Something happened to the Knicks. The concerning part about that game last night was that Knicks team should have won that basketball game. They, like I said before, they play tough, they play hard. But that Indiana Pacers team, they just keep coming at you and coming at you and coming at you. If you look at the Indiana Pacers, there's teams out there in the NBA right now that you're going to look at them specifically for the prowess of their one or two players, their stars, their guy. The Knicks aren't like that, and the Pacers aren't like that. They're two like old school basketball teams going against each other, where if you look at the Indiana Pacers, all 5 of their starters last night scored in double digits. Tyler Halliburton. Is Tyler Halliburton going to become the Reggie Miller thorn in your side that the Knicks fans had back in the 90s? He did something last night that was so what normally happens to the Knicks, or what normally happens to my teams. Good thing I'm not a Knicks fan, but I am a Celtics fan, and I'm going to eat my shit in a couple of minutes. I'm going to talk about that too. But the Pacers just keep coming at you, and something happened last night. Time was running down. Game was going to be over. Tyler Halliburton gets the basketball, puts it up. Tyler Halliburton, I'm not saying it was 100% luck. I'm not saying that he didn't put the ball up at exactly the right time. But what that ball did last night was bounce 40 feet up in the air and drop down for what everybody thought was a 3-pointer and a game-winning shot. Happened to be a 2-point shot. And it absolutely, there's a visible chaos in the feet of the players. There's not discomfort level on the floor. There's a discomfort level a little bit, man, because the fact that they played their best game last night, Kev. They played their best game. And I'm a little concerned about the fact that you think they could do that for, for a couple more games because they put everything out there on the court last night, but the Pacers just kept coming and coming and coming. And back to what Halliburton did. Halliburton did something last night. That ball wasn't going to go in, but you know why it went in? Because it was the MSG mystique. Something goes wrong for the Knicks all the time. Go all the way back to I want to say it was 1997. Eastern Conference Finals. Who goes to the championship? The Pacers. You know why? Reggie Miller became an animal. Not that he wasn't an animal to begin with, but one of the biggest moments, I think, in NBA history came in game one of that series when Reggie Miller scored 9 points in 8 seconds. I'm sorry, it's reversed. 8 points in 9 seconds. Last night when Halliburton put that ball up and it went in, that was kind of like Pacer-like against the Knicks because the Knicks, they couldn't defend that. He put the ball up and it happened to go in. So you want to call it luck. You want to call a little bit of unluck on the Knicks' part. Something happened last night and the Pacers won that game. And like I said, it was a tough game last night. The Knicks, who won that series? Which series? The one with Reggie Miller? The Pacers. The Pacers won that series. They won it 4-1. And I think the Knicks went on to win after that or before that. But I think it was 97, Kev. Got to look at my notes here a little bit. Let me see what we got here. I wasn't going to start with basketball. I was going to start with baseball. But while we're talking about basketball, what the hell? Let's see. I go through my notes here. I want to make sure I get this right because I don't want to be giving false information here. You know what I'm saying? So, let's see. Breakdown of all the games here. Yes, it was 1997, and they did win that series. So this series going forward is going to be something that the Knicks are going to have to play as hard as they can. They're going to have to stop Halliburton. Halliburton is going to become, like I said to you before, the thorn in their side if they let him play the game the way he plays. When he put that choke sign up, Knicks fans, that had to get you so goddamn mad. That had to bring you right back to that night. That had to bring you right back to, holy shit, is this going to happen again? Because I tell you right now, this Knicks team can win this series. But every single night, they have to go out on that floor and they have to play that kind of basketball. They have to catch somebody slipping. But the luck of the draw is not always with the Knicks. It's usually with the other team. I don't know, Knicks fans. You guys out there talking about how it's the Garden of Eden. I know I say it all the time. It's the Garden of Eden. It's the Garden of Eden. They haven't won a championship there since 1969, guys. This might be the year, maybe not. Jalen Brunson's going to carry this team if that's the way they're going to do it because it's not going to be Karl-Anthony Towns. But they do have a good supporting cast. Josh Hart's a dog. You know, you got a bunch of guys in there that are getting rebounds. So they have to continue to play. Nobody could be caught slipping in this series. Nobody. Because if any of the Knicks get caught slipping, the Pacers are going to absolutely capitalize on every single move that they make because Knicks, you got a tough road ahead of you. I'll be watching, though. I'll be watching. As I know, my friend Kevin here is paying attention as well. And texted me last night, a little happy about how the Knicks were playing. But what happened? I went to bed, too. You said you did also. So you probably waited till you woke up this morning and find out that they lost. But it's going to be good going forward. Tomorrow night, we have another game against the Knicks and the Pacers. And this is one thing, too, that you got to look at when you're looking at the Indiana Pacers. Now, the Pacers are a team that, look, I become an NBA basketball fan about 60 games into the season because if you're a hardcore NBA fan, it's unwatchable for the first 60 games because nobody really plays. They kind of worry about people getting hurt. They're worrying about playing too hard. It's what the NBA is now. The NBA wasn't like that back in the 90s, 80s, 70s. People played whatever the minutes they were told to play. But this day and age, they kind of play when they want so they can maybe, not get injured or be there. But the argument that I have with the young generation of these basketball players is toughness. You guys all seem to think that they're better basketball players this day and age. Nobody back then rested. Everybody got up for every single basketball game. Everybody got up for 82 games, not 20 plus the playoffs, 82 basketball games. And that's what made basketball great back in the day. So I don't want to hear this bullshit from any of you young kids out there that say this NBA is better than the old NBA. Not saying it's bullshit. It's a different game. But the way I look at basketball, number one priority is toughness. So if you're tough, you're going to score. You're going to make the other team not wonder what you're going to do. Are you going to go to the basket? You're going to shoot threes. I know it's a 3-point game. I know it's a game where they're scoring 130, 140 points, but toughness has been lost. Bring a little bit of that toughness back. So maybe players like Shai Alexander, the way he's playing right now, won't drive so much. All these players that they just run to the basketball hoop with no avail because they know that there's either going to be a foul or nobody's going to block them because there's no defense being played. So to compare the game back then and now, it's hard because a lot of these players today are pussies. And yeah, I said it out loud, they're pussies. Back then, toughness. And that, I think, is what's going to beat the OKC Thunder, if anybody does, out of the East. It's the toughness because talent-wise, it's in the West. I mean, you look at that West right now, it's like it's covered in talent. You got the OKC Thunder. Anybody think the OKC Thunder were going to be as good as they are? You go all the way back when they had Harden, they had Durant, and they had Westbrook on the same team. They made a run. But if you think of those three guys, where they went, they didn't go nowhere. Durant, what's he got? Nothing. Westbrook, what's he got? Nothing. Harden, what's he got? Nothing. Imagine that team stuck together. They'd be working on their second dynasty with Shai Alexander. Because this day and age, it's all about where you're going to go, where you're comfortable. Kevin Durant, you are the softest superstar. The only reason why you are the softest superstar is because you're a bigger superstar than Karl Anthony Towns. So between you and him, you guys are soft. And I'm going to say it 1,000 times over because I truly feel that way. But toughness has to come through in this because the Indiana Pacers are a tough team. Now let's go to this next game over here. We got the game in the West over there. I'm going to talk about that for a second. I touched on it briefly. Shai Alexander had 31 points last night. You look at a team that Shai Alexander can. He really doesn't have to be the man. I mean, you got you got all these guys, Hartenstein. I mean, this guy is playing hard. And I think Hartenstein is probably one of the main reasons why the Denver Nuggets went home because not too many people play Jokic is tough, but that motherfucker really, beat up on him and played him tough, man. So again, I'm pointing it out again. Toughness has to become a priority in basketball now because if it's not, look, I know you guys like the high scoring games. Look, I know. Remember back then, chicks dig the long ball in baseball with the steroids. Everybody wanted to see the home run. I usually like to watch a good pitching duel. That's how I feel about basketball too. I like seeing people on the floor getting pushed down. I like seeing people not being able to dunk the basketball because they got somebody in their face all the time. That's what I like to see in basketball. This day and age, you're going to get toughness against talent, and all the talent and all the points are in the West because Minnesota and OKC, they went at it last night. Oh, 2 nights ago. Now, Anthony Edwards. If Anthony Edwards would just grow up a little bit, he would be dangerous. I mean, the kid's got paternity suits all over the place. I know he just paid off some woman, whatever the amount of money it is, 12, 13, 14 million dollars. Personally, I think, no check that you cut for your kid is gonna, make this kid be like, oh, hey, my dad's got a lot of money. My dad plays in the NBA. I'd be there for your kids, bro. And the fact that you've been fighting these paternity suits, I guess it's got a lot weighing on your head, but you got to take care of the kids, man. Stop with the paternity suits. You got rappers calling you out and calling you a bad dad. You got to think about that for a second. So maybe if you would get away from the fact of knocking up all these girls and all these paternity suits, maybe instead of 18 points, maybe you'd score 40. Or maybe you'd get some assists. I'm not saying he's playing bad. Julius Randle, playing great. Julius Randle's a great addition to that team. You know where Julius Randle came from? The New York Knicks. You know who else is playing good on that team? Playing off the bench, but he's hitting some shots. Dante DiVincenzo. Do you know how awesome it would be for a guy like Dante DiVincenzo to be told he's not good enough to hang out and play with his Villanova buddies over there in New York? Goes over to Minnesota, play with Edwards and Gobert and all these guys and win a championship. So Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo were told that they weren't good enough to play on that Knicks team, so they got sent out. Now they're playing on a Minnesota Timberwolves team where a mature Anthony Edwards is dangerous. Julius Randle, like I said, when he's got a good team around him, he's going to play. Minnesota's a tough team. They really are. And you better hope that Anthony Edwards doesn't decide to mature a little bit, because that kid's putting up 40. OKC, Shai Alexander, you could put up as many points as you want, because the fact that Edwards is going to be driving to the hoop. Gobert is another one who killed him last night. You got to have more than 3 rebounds, dude. You just have to. You got to have more than 3 rebounds. The way that team is made up, they're a team they're a team. They're a unit. They rely on each other. There's not LeBron James there where it's going to take the ball. Maybe sometimes when he wants the ball. Maybe not. He's the complete anti-superstar because I think he's a pussy. I always find a way to attack LeBron James, and he just did something the other day again that really burnt me up. So I'm going to talk about that on my next podcast. But that guy just continues to be a piece of shit, and it just nobody even sees that. There's something about personality traits in men, and he has all the personality traits of somebody that's a super talented guy, but doesn't do it for the team. Does it for himself. He's a look at me guy. But I would stop talking about LeBron. I could go off about LeBron. But I think Minnesota is going to beat OKC, because I think they're going to look at last night's game. Gobert didn't rebound. He's going to rebound more. You're going to say that maybe, McDaniels, maybe he could play better. Maybe say, the bench could play a little better. You know what happened the other night in OKC? OKC's bench got 30 points and 20 rebounds. That's how you win playoff basketball games. Not 5 guys on the court scoring all the points. You got a bench. Minnesota's bench is doing it, and OKC's bench is doing it. The Knicks and the Pacers. The Knicks are relying on their guys. They're starting 5. They're tired. The Pacers got a bench also. If you're going to show up in the NBA championship against either one of those teams, your bench has to be, ready to rock and roll, because those guys are getting tired. The NBA season is a long season. It was even longer back when they actually played 82 games, but when you go from game 60 to now, but you're still playing on a high level. They're still high level athletes, and they're tired. So going into this NBA championship coming up, I don't know who it's going to be. It's going to be one of these 4 teams that's going to walk off that court in a couple of weeks with the championship. I just know that's not going to be my Celtics. I want to touch on them for a second. I want to touch on the Celtics because I was going through some of their past championship teams, some of their past victories, some of their past, I guess, dynasties, maybe you would call them. This Celtics team doesn't have what was needed to come in the clutch. This Celtics team has a new owner right now. We all know what happened a couple weeks ago. Yeah, Knicks, you kicked our ass. You were tougher than us. Jaylen Brown did everything he can. And I had Kevin, my buddy over there, tell me the other day, and he's absolutely right. I spoke a little too soon when I said that the Celtics gave up. Celtics didn't give up. The Knicks were just too strong for them. And I even was a little skeptical, even if Tatum didn't get hurt. And I'm going to tell you why I'm a little skeptical about that. And I know I've gone off in the past about this. And I'm a Celtics fan. And I've been a Celtics fan for a long time. I could pinpoint it to 1986 championship, watching Larry Bird just go nuts. And then, holy cow, this guy Larry Bird's pretty damn good. So around 85, 86 is when I really started following basketball. And that's just why I'm a Boston Celtics fan, guys. I guess the Knicks weren't that good. Even through those Knicks runs in the 90s, they were fun to watch. But anytime Michael Jordan's on the court, you got to watch out, because 6 championships, 6 league MVPs. Everybody else was just trying to keep up with Michael Jordan at that time. But in the 80s, you had Larry Bird. Michael Jordan came on the scene in 87, 88, 89, 90, then started to win his championships. But my first vision of what basketball should be was from Larry Bird. And that's why I look at basketball as a tough sport, because I don't think there's anybody that played the game tough. The people played the game tough, but he played the game to a level of, he didn't want to talk to nobody. He didn't want any friends. He just wanted to go out there and play basketball. So I'm used to watching that, and then I see Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, listen, I I, I was a little hard on him by calling him, not a leader, not a superstar. All right, he's a superstar. Superstars do things in the playoffs that normal good players, normal great players don't do. They will their teams to win. And I could go down a laundry list of players that's been done. It's just look at Bill Russell back in the day. Bill Russell played 13 seasons in the NBA. You know how many championships he won? 11. Had Kuzi, had a good team around him. Red had just instinctual talent to find these players, instinctual voice to will his team and say, who cares? Just go out there and play basketball. The racism back in the day that these Celtics teams had to deal with. Bill Russell had to deal with so much racism back in the day. And then he got back on that court and he played basketball, won 11 championships for a city that looked at him as not equal because of the color of his skin. So today, in this day and age, when you see a lot of players that are going through stuff, or players that can't take the booze, or players that can't take, the crowd noise, think about what guys like Bill Russell had to go through, Jackie Robinson. And listen, you could go through, again, a long, long list of players that had to go through a lot of crazy stuff just to play the game that they love. Try being Bill Russell. 11 championships in front of City. Couldn't stand him because of the color of his skin. This Celtics team is not comparable to any Celtics teams in the past. The only reason why 08, 09, and 10 weren't 3 in a row, Garnett got hurt, and it was Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was there, just like Michael Jordan was there. But Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, 08, that season was great. Once Kevin Garnett joined that team, I was ecstatic. Because you know why? Other than Michael Jordan, I got 2 other favorite basketball players on the planet. And it's Kevin Garnett and Allen Iverson. And Kevin Garnett, to me, epitomized the way I loved to see basketball play. Kevin Garnett got on that court, and he was an animal. Nothing mattered. No friends. Everybody was your enemy. You had the basketball in your hand, and you were on the opposite side, and you were wearing a different colored jersey or a different logo, you were the enemy. Paul Pierce, an assassin. You guys were the enemy. Maybe they had friends in the NBA. I'm sure they did. But like Michael Jordan, like Kobe Bryant, like tough players of the past, it didn't matter who was on the other side of the basketball team. My job was to kick your ass and win and beat you at all costs, not to yuck it up on the basketball court with you. So the only reason why that Celtics team, in my eyes, did not win 3 in a row, Kevin Garnett got hurt. In a day and age where you need superstar players on a team, because, you want to say LeBron's big 3, I don't know, but the big 3 was back in Boston, and that was a big 3. Garnett gets hurt. They lose it. They lose it. They come back in 10. They lose to the Lakers. They got 1 championship out of those players. And it came crashing down pretty hard. And then from there, they just had to start over again. I got to be honest, too. I mean, they had Rajon Rondo on that team. Liked Rondo. Liked the way he played. But there was just something about him that he just didn't, and I don't know what it is. But Rondo played a big part in that organization, too. Celtics have also had a lot of stuff happen to them that don't normally happen to normal franchises. Len Bias, dead. Reggie Lewis, dead. Understand why. But the Celtics of the past, that spirit is lost to the new generation of players. It's a lost technology like landing on the moon. Kev, I heard we haven't landed on the moon. But I think that's something me and you could talk about next week. Glad to see you listening out there. Hope you're having a good time. But anyway, that's my whole take on the Celtics. Celtics fan, like I said, don't think this Celtics team is tough. Celtic teams of the past, you had Bill Russells, you had We could do a conspiracy theory one. You know, I love my conspiracy theories. It is the mostly sports talk show. I'm hoping that we can keep the name, but we'll talk about too when you get back. Very excited about this, Kev. Wasn't going to announce it, but me and you got a show coming up, and it's about time you let everybody know because your name is in the comments there. Right now, you seem to be the only person watching. Don't worry, that shit's going to change, man. Us two, we're going to take over the podcast world. All right, cat's out of the bag. Me and Kev are going to do some shows together. We're going to see how it goes. I'll tell you right now, we are going to kick everyone's ass. Look out, podcast world, because here we come. All right, talked about basketball, talked about the Knicks Pacers, talked about my Celtics and how angry I was about them losing, but not really, because I really didn't think they had enough in them to win anyway. And now we're going to get to my New York Mets. Not going to spend too much time in the New York Mets. I like talking about the Mets when they're doing well. I like talking about the Mets when they're not doing well. I wear my fandom on my sleeve. I am a New York Mets fan through and through. I got 4 sports that I follow. 2 I follow religiously. I got teams. You can't take those teams away from me. And it's been a suffering time for me, being a Mets fan and a Jets fan. I already went through my Celtics fandom. And if you really want to get down to it, I'm an Islander fan. Yeah, an Islander fan. They got the first pick this year in the draft. I don't know too much about hockey. I'm hoping Kevin knows a little bit about hockey because I like to get into that. But those are my teams, and these are my Mets. And I got a son upstairs that's the same as me. We watch these games, and we think that they're just going to win every single game. Even when they suck, we just think they're going to win every single game. But the last 2 years, there's something going on over there in Citi Field. Last year, Mets were down 8-0 going into the 4th inning, 5th inning, 6th inning. They would come back and win baseball games. This was 5, 6, 7 years ago. I turned that off in the 3rd inning. You know why? Because we're building a team of savages. I said it. You know what? I shouldn't say savages because Aaron Boone called his team savages. And I have to rethink that. But the Mets are becoming a full team of guys that trust each other. They're trusting their pitchers. They're trusting their lineup. Juan Soto, I don't care about how Juan Soto is doing right now. And I sure as shit don't care about the fact that he's making $700 million. I pay his salary in a roundabout way. But if I was that goddamn mad at it, I wouldn't go to a Met game. I wouldn't buy my Francisco Lindor jerseys. I wouldn't take my son to 6, 7, 8 games a year. I wouldn't do those things. I wouldn't do a sports talk show. I wouldn't talk about sports. I love sports. I am not giving him $700 million. The richest owner in professional sports is giving him that amount of money. Is he not performing the way he should on the field right now for a $700 million player? What is a $700 million player, really? It's really just comparable to how much money is being put into these teams as the years go on. I bet if you ask Francisco Lindor if he's mad about his $700 million contract, guarantee leader that he is would probably say no. I got my contract over $300 million. That was the going rate at the time. Shohei Ohtani bumped that shit up to over $700 million. I don't get it with Juan Soto. Not that I don't get it. I don't get the, not that I don't get the money. I get the money because that's where it is right now. But what I don't get is everybody comparing his talent to his contract or his will to win to his contract or his stuff he's got going home to his contract. I'm going to look at Juan Soto right now. Just give me a second to talk about Juan Soto for 1 second. And I'm probably not even going to talk to Juan Soto really from a baseball perspective, because at the end of the day, what I'm going to say is going to go back to how I feel is affecting his baseball prowess at the moment. This man signed a $700 million contract. $700 million. We all know the stories. We all know Juan Soto spent a week in the minors, was sleeping on a shitty bed. Coach came downstairs to apologize for the accommodations. Must have said it in Spanish, whatever language he was speaking at the time. He said, "Don't worry, coach, I'm not going to be here long. Next week, he's in the major leagues." Juan Soto's accomplished more at 26 years old than most baseball players accomplish in their entire lives. I'm just talking regular, you make it to the Major League Baseball, that's the pinnacle of your career. You're a Major League Baseball player. Juan Soto has done more than probably about 70% of Major League Baseball players will ever do in their career at the age of 26. Do I wish he was batting over 300? Yeah, I do. Do I wish he was hitting home runs left and right? I do. What I do think though is he was affecting the rest of the lineup. Pete was hitting almost 400. Again, I know it's the beginning of the season. Lindor's having a season. Look, Lindor hadn't had a hit in a couple of nights, hadn't had a home run since May 11th. Hit a home run last night. I'm going to go off on him and not go off on him. I'm going to talk about him in a second. But you know, I love my Lindor. But Soto, you have to look at Soto, the man, and Soto, where he comes from and who he is. We don't know much about Juan Soto. We know he's from a country that is very poor. We know that he's got a big family. We know the family's very important for Juan Soto because if you listen to Michael Kay is such a douche. And it's when I look, it's when I listen to people like Michael Kay and Francesa and some of these guys on these radio sports talk shows, or these thinking that they're like on first name basis with these players. And, Francesa used to with his Guardy and his Booney and his stupid, him and Michael Kay for that reason used to drive me up a wall. Who's Michael Kay to turn around and tell the public that I have an inside source that says that Juan Soto wanted to still be a Yankee, but his family was more important. His family liked the presentation from Steve Cohen and the New York Mets. Bottom line is he took the most money. I don't care if he's unhappy with the team he chose. He chose the money. That's it. Bottom line. So the fact that he chose the money and he says he's rethinking, no, stop it, Michael Kay. He heard $765 million and my family will be taken care of in these boxes or whatever they're doing for the family over there. Apparently, the Mets make it a very family-oriented atmosphere. The Yankees don't. I don't know how true that is. That's just speculation. Just like speculation, the fact that Juan Soto didn't want to be a Yankee. His family wanted to be a Met. It's bullshit. He's a man, and he's making $700 million. Now, think about this for a second. You grow up in a country where you're eating dirt. You learn how to play baseball at a very young age. You learn how to get into a system or manipulate a system where you become the guy that gets on that little rubber boat and you get over here and you play baseball. That is a privilege. So you come here and you make a lot of money and you still have those family members over there. Now, all those family members are going to say, okay, I'm coming to the United States of America because my cousin, my son, my brother, my sister, whatever it may be, is going to take care of us for the rest of our lives now. Think about if somebody that wins lotto. If you live in your dirt poor and you win the lotto and all of a sudden you win $100 million, you're going to get phone calls from everybody on the face of the planet. He's probably screening phone calls. He's probably got girls calling him. He's probably got girls calling him up saying that they're pregnant with his baby. He's got a lot of stuff going on in his mind. Let's just disconnect for the fact for a moment that he's a $700 million baseball player. And let's look at him from a microcosm of him being just a man. Okay. I talk a lot about stuff that men go through on my podcast. And it's true, guys. I talk about a lot of stuff that we're our own worst enemy. And I think that if right now, from that kind of perspective, it's kind of like he's got a lot going on in his head right now. And I know $700 million is an awful lot of money to make a lot of that stuff go away, but it invites other stuff. It invites shadiness. It invites, who are you and why do you want $1 million? So being that he is this family guy, being that he is this guy that loves his family, he's got to have hundreds of people trying to get over on that rubber boat and mooch off the Juan Soto money tree. He's got it, but it's kind of like he's got to pick and choose who he wants. No, it's no picking and choosing. You have $700 million. You're from a dirt poor country. And let's look at that for a second. Let's look at the distractions that he has in his life right now. He doesn't look like a guy that's just giving up. I got my $700 million. He looks like a guy that's at a crossroads. He looks like a guy that was at the plate last night. He struck out 3 times last night. Every single time he struck out, he looked like a guy who had something else on his mind. And it's not good stuff. He's got other stuff on his mind. He's going to break out, guys. And for everybody out there that's ha ha ha, look what you got. And the Yankee fans, stop the bullshit, guys. Just stop it. I don't care what's going on over there in the Bronx. I truly don't. You want to get on here and talk to me Yankees, Mets? I don't care. You guys have been around for 100 years. The Mets have been around since 1962. It's New York baseball. New York baseball. And the fans on both sides make it really hard to watch a baseball game from the other side. But I do. Aaron Judge is over there doing stuff that no baseball player has and will ever do in the history of the sport. Aaron Judge, why do I call him Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Judge is playing at a level right now that's never been seen. If he keeps this up, he's going to hit, I'm paraphrasing, he's going to hit like 100 home runs, have 200 RBIs, and bat 450. I mean, that right there is the greatest thing that's ever going to be done in sports. Pulling for him, rooting for him, because you know why? Because again, I don't care what goes on over there. I don't care that we lost 2 of 3 in Yankee Stadium. You want to laugh? That's fine. I barely even care about that. They're going to come to Citi Field. You know what? I got plenty of Yankee fan friends that are going to try and break my chops. We take, listen, we go 3-0 against the Yankees in Citi Field. You know what I'm going to say to you guys? I don't care. Let's go. I'll see you in November. Because the way both teams are playing right now, you're not going to win 162 baseball games a year. The way this team is playing, there's going to be ebbs and flows, ups and downs, injuries. People are going to play hard. People are not going to play hard. But New York has 2 baseball teams right now that are playing very well. New York Yankees, just keep doing what you do in the American League. I got to worry about the Phillies. I got to worry about the Braves. We got the Dodgers coming in for some games. Then we're going to LA. Dodgers are our target right now. The Dodgers are the team that we have to meet them in the playoffs coming up. And again, I know I'm putting the horse before the cart when I say playoffs. Baseball's a marathon, not a sprint. There's a lot of games, but they are sitting at 30-20 right now. 30-20 is a pretty good record. It's one of the tops in the major leagues. They're in second place behind the Phillies. As a matter of fact, after last night's win, I think Phillies lost. I'm not really sure, but Phillies lost last night. The Mets are back in first place. You look at a Braves team that almost got 24 wins, and they are not playing like the Braves of the past. But Acuna is coming back. That could go either way. If you remember correctly, 2 years ago, Acuna missed the entire season. They still won the World Series. But something's going on over there in Atlanta. I'm not going to go into it too much because I hope it keeps going on. I hope it gets contagious. I hope it goes to the Phillies. I hope it goes to the Dodgers. Because the Braves don't look like the Braves. But again, it's a long season. Strider with his stupid mustache, right? He's pitching pretty good. He came back the other night. Baseball is a great sport. Baseball is not a good sport. Baseball is a great sport. And for the people who love it, it's a passion. We have our lives. We're fathers, we're brothers, sisters, husbands. We have stuff that happens throughout our day. It's monotonous. One of the highlights of my day when I come home from work at night, I kiss my wife, kiss my kids, sitting down watching a baseball game on a summer night, all 9 innings, is so relaxing. And I know a lot of people out there need 100% go, football, basketball. Love those sports. Do not get me wrong. I love those sports. But to sit down and watch 9 innings of a baseball game, I think I've said this before. If you watch a football game from kickoff, it's one big moment. One big moment means the kickoff, people are getting hit, people are catching the ball, people are running, people are just trying to score points. And there's kind of a mind game going on there with defense and offense. But if you want to think about a baseball game is a bunch of great moments built into that one last moment. That one last moment where Pete Alonso sends your team into the playoffs by hitting a home run off Devin Williams. Still, just even thinking of that. That's why baseball is great. Pete could have struck out in that spot, but he hit a home run. The ups and downs of baseball are why it's so great. And to have a team that I'm looking at right now, like the New York Mets, that I'm never giving up on them this year. They could be down 14 runs, but I still think that they're going to come back. Got Luis Torrens. Now, I love Francisco Alvarez. He's got great energy. Great energy. He's got one home run. This kid's supposed to be home run banging 20, 30 home runs a year. One thing's a really good catcher. He's throwing people out. Still think he's a little immature, but that's okay. We got Luis Torrens. 2 hits again last night. Guy's throwing people out. Mets got 2 catchers on this roster that are catchers. They're not just, now look, we had Mike Piazza. Was Mike Piazza a great catcher? He's a great hitting catcher. Defensively, not so much. We got 2 catchers that can do both. Are they going to be the best of all time? Who knows? Maybe Alvarez might be one of the best catchers of all time. Maybe Alvarez is working a lot on his catching game and kind of like saying the hitting will come. Because if I'm starting a team, I would rather have a Benito Santiago than a Mike Piazza. Don't get me wrong, Mike Piazza is great, but Benito Santiago as a catcher saves you runs. He does his research. And I know I'm going way back, Benito Santiago, but that's just one of the guys that I can remember being in awe of, watching him throw people out from his knees. And at a time, we have Ricky Henderson and people like that stealing bases on a daily basis. He was throwing people out from his knees. Alvarez said at one time that he likes watching old videos of him. We'll keep watching those videos. The hits are going to come. Torrens, you're doing a good job filling in, but I know you're getting up there in age a little bit. Hopefully, we're going to have Alvarez there the rest of for the rest of his career. 2, I've been all over Brett Baty. Watched him play last year, said to myself on numerous occasions, Brett Baty doesn't even deserve to be on the baseball field. Brett Baty looks like he's a really, really, really good AAA ball player. He's going to hit 500. There's going to be like, oh my God, look how he's doing down the minors. Maybe we should bring him up. The minute he comes up, get stage fright again. I know there's a certain amount of times we can send a player back and forth, but he's tried real hard to not get sent back down. Last week in the loss, 6 RBIs. Last night, some more hits, some more RBIs, another home run the other night. Brett Baty's clinging on to every inch of baseball so he can make this team, because he knows like the rest of the guys on this team, he knows that they're going to be making some noise in the playoffs, and he wants to be a part of this. And if he wants to be a part of this, keep playing the way you've been playing, because you might not be an everyday guy. He's showing some flashes with the glove at second base, maybe third base. Vientos isn't making it easy on him to become the everyday starting third baseman, because he's kind of locking in the bat a little bit. Maybe he's getting his sophomore jinx this year. But between Baty and Vientos, we got 2 guys that are fighting for a spot on that team. Another kid fighting for a spot on that team is Acuna. I love him, Acuna. Love him. Kid does everything right. Made a little bit of a base running, which is weird. He's fast. He steals bases. Made a little bit of a base running blunder last night. I guess he should have been at third. But I don't know, man. He should be our everyday second baseman. And I say get rid of Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil, we could package with a bunch of guys, maybe get a pitcher or something. I mean, I know who's going to really want Jeff McNeil, but Jeff McNeil adds some substance to a baseball team that's looking for a second baseman that hits 240. Who knows? Maybe he's having some problems in his locker room. Maybe people don't like him. He looks like a douche to me, I don't know. But doesn't have to be a nice guy to play baseball. But there does have to be some kind of cohesion. There has to be some kind of, everybody likes each other, But cohesion and liking each other on a team, I think I misspoke on that. I see cohesion could come with people not liking each other. Because from what I understand, nobody on the Bulls liked Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan was fine with that. As long as you went out there and gave 100%, you weren't getting punched in the face. You weren't getting screamed at. You want to look at a guy like him? He leads by example. He'll punch you in the face on the court. He'll yell and scream at you to pick it up, but nobody is going to outwork people like him. You have to be like that. You have to be a person that nobody's going to outwork me. Nobody's going to outdo me. And when that person is getting close to outworking you, you just work harder and harder. That's what life is about. There's no second place in life. We've been having this conversation the last couple of days. Sports at a young age, as a microcosm, it's very important. Very important for competitive nature. It's very important for teamwork. It's very important for self-confidence. This is what it's all about. It's all about winning at the end of the day. Baseball, unfortunately, you got 162 games you're going to lose here and there. Can't take every loss to heart because you know why? The great thing about baseball is you could lose the night before, and the next night your hero could hit a grand slam, like Francisco Lindor did last year against the Philadelphia Phillies. That after the Pete Alonso home run against Milwaukee, my all-time favorite moment watching baseball was when Francisco Lindor hit that home run against the Philadelphia Phillies. Watching him jog around those bases, watching his confidence going through his head at that moment. I don't know if it was exact. I'm just kind of like reading body language, but what are you guys all cheering about? This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm the star of this team, and they asked me to do it, and I did it. So jog around that field with confidence. Love it. Listen, you could get excited because that's a very exciting moment. You don't knock nobody for that because it's an exciting moment. But you also have to take consideration and watch these men that walk onto the field and walk onto the bases like they're supposed to be there and they're supposed to do it. That's just what they do. I know I get out on Aaron Judge a lot. Aaron Judge struck out the other night to end the Mets game. Again, I know I get on him. I'm not getting on him at that moment because he's Aaron Judge of the Yankees. I'm getting on him because he's batting almost 500. He's the best player on the planet. And everybody just expects him to hit the ball and hit a home run game, win the game all the time. Baseball, it's not always going to happen. It's not always going to be that. Aaron Judge gets up, and that's why pitching around players, I get it. I mean, they once walked Barry Bonds with the bases loaded. And I forgot who the coach was that did it. The coach says that was the best move he ever made that game. I actually think they won the game. But when you pitch around players, it gives them a little bit of more. But Bonds and Judge, I think, were two different personalities. Judge, nice guy. You know, he's a family guy. He's married. Never hear anything bad about him. He probably says shoot and darn. You know, Bonds, when he saw that look in your eyes that you were afraid, you were in trouble. Nobody was striking him out in a big spot. Judge got up to bat against the Mets, and he struck out. It's okay. Happens. It's baseball. But you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to get a hit. It's the Mets bullpen, which is pitching pretty well, by the way. I'm not saying anything wrong about the Mets bullpen, but you're Aaron Judge. Back in the day, I would have said the same thing. You're Ted Williams. You're Mickey Mantle. You know, you're Keith Hernandez. You know, you're Barry Bonds. Name your favorite or greatest basketball player that's ever lived. Yeah, you need to do something in that position because you are the guy. And you know what? Fortunately, I'm going to say something really crazy right now. I'll take Francisco Lindor on my team any day of the week over Aaron Judge. And I know that's going to sound crazy, but the two-way appeal of a player to me is a lot more than, and again, taking nothing away from Judge's defense, but he has dropped balls in big spots. Not taking anything away from the fact that he got injured last year. He ran into the wall. All right, look, Yankee fans, I know E-dubs out there, you know, ruined his year. Don't run into the wall. He did. But that just shows me that you're 6'8" and you are human. Stuff could happen to you. So to say that Aaron Judge should have hit a home run to tie the game against the Mets the other night, it's a little bit of pressure on a guy, right? You know, it's a little bit of pressure on a guy like Lindor to think that every time he gets up, I think he's going to hit a home run. Every time Pete gets up, he's going to hit a home run. And it's all the way people take this pressure. They take it to heart, or do they take that pressure and eat it? Do they take that pressure and say, I want this pressure. I want this on my shoulders. Last year against the Phillies, that home run, give me the ball. I want this home run. I was supposed to do this. Aaron Judge bobbling a ball in center field for the Yankees, not so much. So let's hope that Aaron Judge gets over that one little tiny part of his mentality of the game, and he will probably go down in history as the greatest baseball player that ever lived. But he's still got a little bit to go. He's still got a World Series to win. He lost last year against the Dodgers. And I say you, I mean the Yankees, because you are the face of the Yankees right now. You are Aaron Judge. You're the captain of the New York Yankees. So you got to win a championship now. Is this going to be the year? Last year wasn't, because you ran into a Dodgers team that just kicked the shit out of my team and just ran roughshod through the entire major leagues. This year they look a little beatable. Ohtani looks like right now Ohtani looks like a really, really, really good baseball player, but not Shohei Ohtani. That could change as well. The Mets, top three, you guys were 6-4-40 in 5 games. You broke out last night with a home run by Lindor. Pete is coming back to earth a little bit. Pete's batting 284. Like I said, he's come back to earth a little bit, but you know what, though? That's to be expected. Tyler McGill last night, 10 strikeouts in 4 innings. A couple little bobbles in the field, a couple little miscues, bad throw by Pete. I don't know. Does he stay in that game longer? 10 strikeouts in 4 innings, and you take him out? Tyler McGill is pitching great this year. Tyler McGill is probably our ace at the moment, even though his record doesn't show it. Because last night, he got hurt by a couple of, miscues. The other night, he got shelled. Listen, your pitchers are going to get shelled. Your number one pitchers are going to get shelled here and there. That happened the other night. Clay Holmes. Oh, Clay Holmes, Yankee fans. No, the Yankee fans. Oh, good luck with Clay Holmes. Yeah, good luck with Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes is pitching great right now. I'll take him. Can he pitch 200 innings, 210, 220? I hope so. So I'm hoping that's where they're going to be come then. Come July, you know what? Mets are in first place. Mets are probably going to be in the playoffs. That's the record show. Get a pitcher. Get somebody big. Get somebody that's on a team right now that's not going anywhere. Let's start. And I don't know what we have, but right now, what we have down there, what we have on the field, you get something together and send somebody somewhere to get a dog as a starting pitcher. I don't even know when Manaea is going to come back. I was so pumped for him. Got that new arm slot pitch that he's doing. Awesome at the end of the season last year. Senga's looking good. Senga looks like a guy that could give us 200 innings this year. That ghost fork, unhittable. Unhittable. It's too bad he can't throw it every single pitch of the game, but then they'll definitely catch on to it. But throw 95, 96, 97, then hit him with the ghost fork. Let's go, Senga. Got you. That's our number 2. David Peterson. David Peterson did exactly what I thought David Peterson was going to do this year. David Peterson, wow, I didn't think he was going to do as good as he's doing right now. Then he came back down to earth a little bit and pitching pretty good. But we're going to get into the dog days of summer with baseball, and the pitching's going to get tired. Players are going to get tired. Francisco Lindor plays baseball every single game. He's not coming out of that baseball game. He had a baby last year and let the coach pull him out of the game. Francisco Lindor, making a bold statement right now, and I've said it before, is my favorite baseball player. Yeah. Kind of weird, right? Years and years I've been watching baseball. Francisco Lindor is my favorite baseball player. Doing a podcast next week with somebody when I talk about if your favorite team and your favorite player coincide. Loved Francisco Lindor the minute he got into the major leagues, and he said he gets with the pitcher at the beginning of every game, wants to know what the signs are because he wants to know what the pitcher is going to throw so he knows where to position himself on the field. He said that when he was on the Cleveland Indians. That's the first interview I saw with him. From that day forward, I love shortstops, and this is my guy. So when he went to the Mets, I was a little easy on him. Not easy, but everybody was killing him. He wasn't doing too well when he first got with the Mets. But hey, he's our star now. He's our captain. He's my captain anyway. He doesn't wear the C, but he's our captain. Lindor, get these guys together. Lindor, tell these guys they could win. And after you're done talking to them again, grab Soto, go grab a beer, and start talking to your buddy. You guys may not be buddies at this time, but take him, talk to him, tell him how hard it is to play here in New York. He only played for 1 year. Listen, he played in San Diego and he played in Washington. And he also bat behind Aaron Judge last year. That helped a lot. Now, you came in here thinking that you were going to be Aaron Judge. Pete was going to hit 400 just because of you. But you know what? There's something going on. And I think Juan Soto needs a man-to-man conversation with Francisco Lindor, the leader of the New York Mets. Going forward, good luck, New York Mets. We're watching every single game. and I want to be there in October. I want to be there in November. I have two teams that I root for that don't give me any joy come playoff time. The Jets won the Super Bowl in 1969. Never seen one. You've heard my story about how I think that Joe Namath sold his soul to the devil. That whole thing. My New York Mets saw them win in 1986. Saw them lose in 2000. Saw them lose in 2015. Ripped my heart out. I have friends that are Yankee fans and Jet fans that they don't take the Jets losing too bad because, hey, I got the Yankees to fall back on. I have friends that are Giant fans and Met fans. Hey, I got the Giants to fall back on. I'm a Jets and a Mets fan. I'd love to see the Jets win the Super Bowl, although I don't think it's coming anytime soon. I want to see the Mets win the World Series this year. The New York Mets winning the World Series this year would be one of the non-essential, I guess you would say, or one of the greatest things I would be able to witness in my life because I'd be sitting there next to my son and me watching our team win the World Series. Jets could win a Super Bowl, I'd be happy. Mets win a World Series, there'd be tears. There would be absolute tears. And that's the emotional game of baseball. That's how we get so emotionally involved in our teams that we look at the product and we look at our players and we get so emotionally involved sometimes that we think we could tell them how we think they should play. We think we should tell them that you should be doing this or you should be doing that. Let's look and think that these guys are also human beings. $700 million doesn't make you an automatic 400 hitter, no errors, and 100 stolen base guy. All $700 million does is says to you, we think that you're going to do this and we're giving you all this money. Now go try and do it. Pressure? Probably. How they deal with it? We'll see. All right. That's my thing on the New York Mets. Oof, I've been doing this for over an hour here. I got something else small I need to talk about. Yesterday, listened to an interview on Rogan. Big Joe Rogan fan. I know it's to say who is it. Aaron Rodgers was on. Started listening to a little bit of it. Aaron Rodgers went in and said yesterday that, and I'm so happy that he said this because at this time I think he's one of the only high-profile professional athletes to actually come out and say that. But he said that the transgender movement in high school and college sports is anti-woman. I agree with him. What's going on in this country right now is in the world of sports anyway. And it's other states are kind of saying, this really, yeah, you're right. This isn't the way we should be doing it. You still got Maine and Minnesota still fighting the fight. I did a video on TikTok a couple of months ago talking about that pole vaulter. It's 75,000 views, 9,000 comments. People actually saying that, they constantly call me all sorts of things, but all I said was it's unfair. And I think that if federal funding is pulled from the state of Maine because they're allowing transgender males to compete against women is wrong. Wrong on so many levels. And if you don't think that's wrong, you need to have your head examined. There's fair and then there's unfair. Our biological makeup cannot be changed when it comes to male and female. When you're born a man, you're born with man stuff. And I don't just mean the stuff that makes you a man on the outside. It's the stuff that makes you a man on the inside. We look at stuff differently. We're more competitive. We're stronger physically. Our will to win is more. Not even, I wouldn't even say that. I'm sorry. I take that back. Will to win is not more. But there's a physical capability that men have that is, we're stronger, faster. You guys are smarter. The physicality of a lot of these sports, if you want to put a man in the ring with a woman, and that man beats up that woman, it's testosterone, guys. You have to separate the fact that women should play with women and men should play with men. There's a whole bunch of people out there that think and say it's only sports, it's only high school sports, it's only college sports. Once you get to the college level, scholarships are involved. Hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars in scholarships are involved. If we start letting that happen, who's to say, you know what? I want a scholarship. I'm just gonna do what I gotta do to do that and maybe beat up maybe wrestle a couple of chicks in high school and maybe I'll get a scholarship. I know it's very the way I'm saying it is very primitive, but this agenda has to stop. I'm not saying I'm saying I don't understand it. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. What is wrong is the fact that that swimmer in Penn State was what was she ranked in the world? I think that swimmer was ranked something like 200 and something in the world or something. Comes in, goes to Penn State. All of a sudden, she's the number one women's swimmer in the world because we recognized, or the school recognized, the fact that she switched up her biological makeup to become a female. No, it's not that easy. It's not. And if you're a parent of a woman athlete, that's in high school, that's in college, and believe it or not, sports is very competitive. Believe it or not, and you've been swimming, you've been wrestling, you've been playing. Picture a softball player whipping 105-mile-an-hour underhand softball. I know it sounds crazy, but people are competitive. There's men's and women's sports for a reason. You want to have a league? Have a transgender league. That's fine. They can compete. But if you want to compete, be who you are, not who you think you are. Look, you wake up one morning and you say you feel like a woman on the inside and you want to go through all these surgeries and everything. Listen, I don't understand it, but can you do it? Sure. Don't compete. Don't do it for an advantage. That's all it is. It's like you're taking steroids. It's like you're it's like you're a professional wrestler and you're taking steroids and the other person isn't. You're going into a competition against a woman and it's like you're on steroids. So the fact that you have an automatic advantage over women because you were once a man, and unless they take out all your testosterone and everything that makes you a man on the inside, it's not fair. So before everybody looks at me and calls me all sorts of names, saying I'm this, saying I'm that, how about we look at this from a perspective of just practicality? Again, I'm going to go back to the fact that if I had a daughter, my daughter was the number one swimmer in the world, and she's getting all sorts of scholarships. All of a sudden, she gets beat out by some all of a sudden person that comes out of nowhere and takes her scholarship. I'm mad. I'm hurt, upset. I watched my daughter try her hardest her entire life, practice every day. I know a girl that's playing basketball. I know this young lady, a couple of years now, she lives up by me. She is a super duper athlete. She plays basketball. What are we going to start letting men play basketball too? What are we going to start slamming and jamming in women's basketball now? I'm going to talk about Caitlin Clark in a minute. Caitlin Clark doesn't need to jam the basketball. So listen, there's men's and women's sports for a reason. Because as much as some people out there think everybody in this world gets a trophy, not everybody gets a trophy in this world. There's first place and then there's everybody else. And if you don't get first place, you work harder. You don't complain. You don't become transgender because you're getting the shit beat out of you by other men your entire life. You're losing on the track. You're losing in football. You're losing in all sports. So your idea is to become an athlete and go compete against women. It's wrong. on so many levels. I know I keep repeating myself, but America, you're fighting the wrong fight here. Maine, Minnesota, you got that chick in Minnesota, that senator. Of course, they're fighting that good fight. There's stuff in this world that we can argue about. There is actually stuff in this world that is wrong that we do have to fight for. But transgender men in women's sports is not something we should be discussing. And I've gotten people say that I talk about it too much. I have sons. So my sons play sports. Didn't affect my sons. I have a lot of friends up where I live that have daughters that it is affecting and is going to affect. It's important. It's an important issue. There's men and there's women. By saying that is not a disparity. By saying that, I'm not saying one gender is weaker or stronger than the other. I'm just saying there's men and there's women. Men do some stuff good, women do other stuff better. But when it comes to physicality, when it comes to war, when it comes to being a cop, when it comes to being a fireman, when it comes to building big buildings, yeah, I'm not saying you can't, but do it like me. That's all I'm saying. So if people are telling you your whole life that you're so great, and then you wake up one morning and you're not really as great as you thought you were, people are just blowing smoke up your ass your whole life, get off your ass and do it on your own. Don't go to a doctor and say, I want to go compete and swim and for Maine, pole vault. Stop. It's ridiculous. So again, don't look at me from a perspective of I'm an asshole because I said that. I'm a realist. People got to wake up. Wake up, America. There's so many other things going on right in front of your eyes that they're trying to distract us from. That is definitely one of them. You're right. Who cares? It's only sports. I care. Lots of people care. Get with the program. America, let's get together. Stop hating on this guy that's in Washington right now just because he is who he is. It took me a long time to get around on this guy. I voted for him. I proudly voted for this guy. There's people that live in this country that make a lot of money and are stealing a lot of money that want to see our country fail. And they're sneaky. They're doing it behind our backs. They're doing it in bills like, can you believe that Donald Trump said that Article 9, women and men? Can you believe that Donald Trump said this? Stop looking at stop looking at the way it's being said for all you pussies out there that can't take, a little direct conversation, and listen to the message. Listen to what's going on. If you would stop to think for like 5 minutes and listen to the message and not the way it's being delivered, you would start to think, this guy really does love America. Does he have a lot of money? Yes. Is he getting something corrupt from somewhere? I'm sure. But you know what, though? That side hates Americans. That side wants America to fail. And to this, I don't know why. I don't know why. But I can tell you one thing. Not everybody in this country gets a goddamn trophy. You have to work. You have to work hard. And anybody thinks otherwise, you got another thing coming to you. I teach my 2 boys that nobody gives you anything in life. You have to work for it. And there's consequences for your actions. And everything else will fall in line. And they abide by that. So if they do something wrong and something happens, they don't complain about it. My son got a ticket the other day. Didn't complain about it. Didn't say, well, Dad, I didn't. No. You know what he said? Me and Mom got to go to court on Tuesday. I got to go answer my ticket. Teach your kids to be strong. Girls, boys, especially boys. Teach them to be tough. Teach them to be strong. Everybody out there that thinks I'm saying tough, meaning be bullies or be fight. No. When I mean tough, I mean fight. I mean be able to fight off people like that. Have your own mind. Know your consequences in life. Be your own person. Don't follow a group of people just because you want to be a part of something. Yesterday, college graduations going around all over the country. I'm sure it's happening all over the country, but I'm pinpointing one college university in general. I wake up yesterday morning, and my son is about to graduate from Columbia University. And he turns around to me and says, "Dad, I'm not going to the graduation. I'm going to stand out in front. I'm going to protest." Now let me get one thing straight. My kids would never in a million years do that. That's what happened yesterday. Last year, this year, we have students from this country jumping in to protests with students from other countries. They're here, taking the fruits of our education, getting our jobs in America, talking about they hate America. Get out. Federal funding? I didn't even know Harvard got federal funding. Columbia got federal funding. It's $90,000 a year to go to those schools, guys. It's $40,000 to go to a regular university. Federal funding? How about you get some of these people, these billionaires, to put some money into their colleges? How about that? How about we do that? It's bad. And I forgot where I was going with that point as far as the, yes, Columbia University. Parents, you either A, don't know what your kid's doing when he's in school or she's in school, don't care. Maybe you're a lawyer or a doctor and you making millions and millions. You just write checks for your kid's tuition. You know, it's all well and good. Maybe you'll turn on the TV one day and you'll see your kid out there protesting. You'll see your kid out there being un-American. Now, I don't care if you're a Democrat, a Republican, a liberal, a conservative. We're Americans. We have to get back to being Americans because that's what it's all about. You know what goes on in other countries? When people get mad at what's going on with their government, they topple it. They go down to the State House, or they go down to the building wherever the guy running the show is. Look what they did to Gaddafi. Look, they dragged him to the streets. Look what's going on in Haiti right now with this guy Barbecue. We live in America. And yeah, it's great that everybody can feel the way they feel. Yeah, it's great. But at the end of the day, let's protect American interest. And to say that we're so far away from everything that's going on in other places, I guess maybe it sounds a little selfish for me. But at this moment, we have to pull back and take us first. With people out there hating America in America just because there's a guy there that's mean. Guys, we needed somebody that's mean up there right now. We need somebody out there that's going to plow through the conversations. You know what he did to that guy from South Africa yesterday? Everybody saying that was mean. Fuck that guy. That's going on in his country. And he's here to tell us that we're bad. People in other countries pointing at us saying we're bad. Look what Trump did to that guy yesterday. That guy was embarrassed. Why is that wrong? Why is that a bad way to do business? Show what's going on. Show what's happening. Because if you don't see it, it's not happening. And I'll tell you right now, it is. America, get off your asses. Don't look at your neighbor as an asshole because you voted for Donald Trump. Same way, too. Don't look at your neighbor as an asshole because you voted for Kamala Harris. Talk about it. If you guys sat down and we talked, you would find out that everybody in this country is more middle of the road than you think. We just have to choose a side. What if it gets to a point where we don't choose a side? What if it gets to a point, like I say all the time, where 300 million people show up on the stairs of the White House? Who cares who's in office at the time? Democrats, Republicans, white people, black people, gay people, transgender, everybody, Americans. Knock on the door and say, stop it. Stop it. Behave. And that's what Donald Trump is trying to do right now. He's trying to have other countries behave. He's trying to let other countries know that we are it. Does that sound conceited? Does that sound abrupt? Does it sound true? Yes. We're the United States of America. Act like it, because we're not acting like it right now. We're not acting like it to our politicians. We're not acting like to our school teachers. We're not school teachers, college professors, universities, big money. Big money is putting in places in America to make it fail. How stupid is that? Say what you want about our president. Say what you want about his demeanor. Say what you want about what he's done. Rapist, huh? How about all those people out there calling him a racist? Seriously, look him in the eyes. All you politicians out there, all you womanizing pieces of shit out there, you womanizing drunks in the political scope of America. You're attacking the president for shit that you guys do all the time. Pete Hegseth, yeah, maybe he's a college, college, let's party, dude. You're all like that. Pictures of you drunk in college. One of you people out there tell me that you have not had a night in your life or a couple of nights in your life in college where you're not happy with the way you acted. Everybody says it all the time, me included, my wife included. Thank God we didn't have video cameras back in the day because we'd be in trouble. It's the truth. Start behaving. Stop worrying about transgender politics. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to say something right now that is going to completely distinguish the way I feel about politics. Get rid of this transgender bullshit. Gays and lesbians, disconnect yourself from that agenda. Homosexual men and women, disconnect yourself from that agenda. It's not doing yourselves any favors. There's mental illness involved. I said it. I'm disconnecting myself. The homosexual gay community should disconnect themselves today from all those letters. And if you are somebody out there, I have lost 3 people in my life. I won't even call them friends anymore. 2 people I lost in my life. I know 40 years. Somebody else I know 30 years. Both of them gay Americans. Never have a problem. Do it. It's your life. You stopped being friends with me because I voted for Donald Trump. How stupid does that sound? How silly does that sound? How do you look at yourself in the mirror and be so selfish, so self-centered that you could look at somebody else and the way they vote, call them pieces of shit? I don't care. I got zero feelings. You call me whatever you want because I wake up every morning and I know how I feel. I know I'm not a liar and I know I tell the truth. Fuck you. You look at me to tell me that I'm not a good person because I didn't vote for your narrative. Do I feel bad? Yeah. But I'll tell you right now, my safety, my family, my job, and everything else that goes with that is a hell of a lot more important than if you guys can get married or if you guys can have operations to change your sex. That stuff just is not important to me. This stuff is. So to the 2 people out there, if you ever catch wind of what I'm talking about right now, if you ever see this video and you know who you're talking about, and the other one from about 2 years ago who defriended me because I had something to say about the goddamn migrants overrunning our country, fuck you too. This is going to be separated, put it as a different podcast because this is my FU to all people out there. I'm not mad about it. I'm not pissed. I'm not upset. I'm not hurt. I'm confused because you fell right into it. Looking at me, somebody you know your whole life, somebody you've been to barbecues with, you've been to my house, you know my children. I've said I loved you. You're not friends with me anymore because of the way I voted. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Anybody out there listening to this rant right now who has defriended somebody, who has kicked somebody out of their life, who has really said some crazy shit that lost friendships to somebody in your life, go now and apologize to them. Go now and apologize for the fact that you let something so stupid as a narrative get between a friendship of 40 years. 40. I don't care what people do in their personal lives. I don't care what people think. People have their own ways of thinking. People have their brains. I don't think anybody's any dumber than me because they voted differently than me. You have an opinion. You have thoughts. You have your own thoughts in your head. You do you. I do me. When I say me, I mean me, my wife, and my 2 children in my house. Everybody else, this world has gotten so big where you could say that voting doesn't even matter anymore because it's corrupt. Stuffing ballots. I voted here, you voted there. Dead people voting. This country right now needs to go back to a place where we can just raise our hand and I am one vote. Somebody in Wisconsin raises their hand, they are one vote. I could hear you when it comes back to the fact that, money goes to certain states. Just let's dumb this down. No, next time there's an election, I'm going to raise my hand and count me as one. People are going to raise their hands, count them as one. We have never in our lives been so divided. And it started years ago. But now it's really coming to a head. We have an outspoken leader in this country right now. And if I hear one more person tell me that he's like Adolf Hitler, or he's a fascist, or he's a Nazi, the Nazi thing, you should be ashamed of yourselves. The moment that Donald Trump starts lining people up and throwing them in an oven because of their religion, because of who they are, lining them up to shoot them, genocide, then compare it to Nazi Germany. But for now, this is the United States of America. Stop calling our leader Nazi, fascist. He's got a different personality than most of you guys are used to. He's got an in-your-face personality, different than from what you're used to. And if you think a couple of weeks ago in that office when Zelensky was in there and J.D. Vance attacked him, if I was Trump, I would never let J.D. Vance say another word to anybody. I would just have him go just play nice with people. Zelensky looked at that guy like he wanted to stick a knife in his chest. If you think that guy was embarrassed by any of that conversation that happened in the office, you needed Donald Trump there, without a doubt. You needed him because he just plows through everything. Zelensky probably looked at J.D. Vance and smiled because in his head, he was murdering him in his head. When he said to them too, you guys don't know what it's like until you see ships on your shores. It wasn't a disparaging remark. Trump jumped all over it. I understand. J.D. Vance tried to get tough too. But you know what? He's right, America. We don't know what it's like to have ships on our shores attacking us on a daily basis. We don't know what it's like to have to get on a bus or a train every single day and worry about if somebody's going to blow it up. We don't have to worry about those things. You know why? Because we live in America. It's terrorism for a reason. Those people that live over there fight a war every day. Say what you want about Russia. Say what you want about the Ukraine. I don't understand it. But you know what, though? That's a tough part of the world that's been fighting their entire lives. Most of us don't even know what it's like to get into a goddamn fist fight. Most of us don't even know how to act when somebody yells at you, has a conversation with you, has a direct question. You don't know how to act. This is the mostly sports talk show part of it. I've been waiting to get this off my chest. Aaron Rodgers, going back to what I started with, you're absolutely right. This transgender narrative is anti-woman. I'm going to see if I get flagged for comments. I'm going to see if people don't want me to say this, but I'll say it again. This transgender narrative is anti-woman. And if you're a woman and you don't think that, then you have something else coming to you as well. And if you don't think that what I'm saying right now is to protect your rights, is to see you, that's what I'm doing. And you know what, though? It might sound like Donald Trump. It might sound a little mean, but I don't care. Listen and do something about it. Stop with the infighting, America. And let's get back to, can't even remember. Do we got to go back to November? Do we got to go back to September 12th, 2001? Because you know what happened on September 12th, 2001? Everybody was American. Everybody loved each other. Everybody cared about each other. Everybody was helping. I was pulling buckets down at 9/11 out of the rubble for other Americans and possibly people from other countries, because almost 4,000 people died in that tower. They weren't all Americans, but you know who was there helping? Americans. We came together and we started to help each other. We started to feel for each other. We started to humanize people. I don't want this rant to let you think that I'm on one side or the other. This particular time, I'm proud to say I voted for Donald Trump. I'm proud to vote for somebody who's got my interests, my family's interests. Do I think he's a little bit on some other stuff? Yeah, but it outweighs the stuff that I want changed. America, I keep addressing you. I see people that just don't even want to speak out anymore. I see entertainers and players apologizing for stuff that they say. Don't apologize if you said something. You said it. Stop apologizing if you don't mean it. Stop saying to somebody, I want an apology. It's okay for somebody not to like you. It's okay for somebody to have an argument with you. If two people are friends and they have two completely different outlooks on life, and you argue and argue and argue, I have a friend like that. But you know what happens after that argument? Go hang out. We talk about other things. Talk about our families. We're allowed to disagree in this country, but don't disagree for the wrong reasons. This is the Mostly Sports Talk Show, guys. I'll be back next week with the new show. And I don't know, Kevin, if you're out there still listening, when you get back, give me a buzz, because this is what you have to deal with. And this is going to be a great show once you come aboard. All right, guys, the Mostly Sports Talk Show. Next time you might see two of us and maybe one, but I'm going to find out when Kevin wants to do his first show. But I'll be back next week, and keep looking at Keep Talking 365 at YouTube for the Mostly Sports Talk Show. And please do me a favor. It doesn't cost you anything. Just please hit that subscribe button. It's just a matter of just looking at numbers and saying, hey, people are looking at my show. But one day I'm going to be a big star, and I'm taking all you 92 followers with me. Let's change that to get it over 100 a little bit. If anybody out there is listening, or anybody sees this video, and they don't know, just hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything. I don't want any money out of this. Anybody out there know me? I just love to talk. Anybody out there wants to hire somebody that just loves to talk, likes my accent, likes my visceral, my fire, hire me. But at the moment, I like doing this. I like talking, and it's therapeutic. So next one may not be a sports talk show because I have other stuff I need to get off my head. But next time you see Keep Talking 365, that will not be sports. Mostly Sports Talk Show will be mostly sports. All right, guys, take care, and I'll see you next week.